Yo, 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 how's everybody doing? So, welcome to the recap. This is something that we got started, just a roundtable discussion, just about, AAU news, different sporting events, and things like that. So, yeah, so it's, I'm Top Baller. I'm representing Top Baller, an affiliate with Eyeball Nation. And I'll let the voice of grassroots introduce himself.
What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to the recap. Um, I'm representing Voice of Grassroots, we're affiliate of Eyeball Nation, here to bring you guys the top media, the most experience, the best experience you'll get when it comes to media presence. And we just want to make sure that everyone is tuned in and ready to experience something that we plan to bring after most events, most big events, but we're going to try to bring it at least twice a month.
Yeah, and welcome to the recap podcast. This is Eyeball Nation. Man, we got a pretty good line of topics that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a few of the top trainers that we've been noticing in the area. We got a few upcoming events that are on the schedule for the end of the summer, and one going on actually this weekend in San Antonio. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to recap the Ball on the Beach. That was a really big tournament. Seen a ton of good games, a few upsets happen down there. Looking forward to that segment. And if we have enough time, we may, be able to rewatch some of these games live, and do a live commentary on that. We're gonna shout out a few top ballers we've been noticing on the boy side and a few on the girls. And then we do want to touch on one of the biggest topics that everybody wants to talk about, which is about the reclass. Is it a problem or is it the solution? Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. So we're gonna let the voice of grassroots jump it off with the top trainers.
All right, you guys. When it comes to trainers, we really like to take pride in that. We think it's one of the most important things when it comes to development in players. Um, we've been paying attention to a lot of trainers in some of our areas. These are some of the trainers that we've been paying attention to that us at Grassroots believe could help your kid develop well. So we're going to give a shout out to E4 Sports out there in Texas. Well, all these right now are in Texas. So we're going to give a shout out to E4 Sports, Tweez Hoops, Handle Madness, Bridge Basketball Program, Grind Circuit, and DFW Powerhouse. So those are some of the top trainers that I like. When it comes to performance and building your athleticism, I feel that esports and McKinney and Tweez Hoops and Irving, those are two of the top programs in my eyes when it comes to working on your athleticism, working on your balance, working on your stretching, and working on just complete growth when it comes to the body. With Handle Madness, those guys are looking to create point guards. They have a lot of point guard classes. When I say that, it means they focus on ball handling, they focus on IQ, they focus on things like turnover ratio, and they just work on building point guards. When it comes to Grind Circuit and Bridge Basketball Program, to me, those are two of the top in the city because I believe they both help work on fundamentals and the effort and the grind that they put in. It's are very, very tremendous. I want to give a shout out to those two programs. As far as DFW Powerhouse, if you want your kid to be a great man and a great leader and learn to be fearless on the basketball court, I recommend DFW Powerhouse. I love Dale Perkins, a great friend of mine.
So there's a lot of good trainers that's in the area. If you can, the voice, can you just share like the locations if you know a few of them, like where they are? Yeah,
Yeah,
people
for
all
sure.
over the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex, and there's probably some parents on here coming on here for the first time, want to get some training, just don't know where to go. If you could share some information about that.
Correct, correct. E4 Sports, they're in McKinney, Texas. You got Tweez Hoops, they're in Irving, Texas. Handle Madness, also in Irving, Texas. Bridge Basketball Program, Duncanville, Texas. Grind Circuit, Little Elm, Texas. And DFW Powerhouse is in Plano, Texas. These places are top tier. They definitely help your kid develop in no time. I feel like those are great programs.
Man, and I also want to give a huge shout out to EMD training. We had the opportunity to go out there this past week and seeing a lot of good things. They put on their fourth annual basketball summer camp in Rowlett, Texas, and it was something to see. Man, they had about I want to say upwards of 30 some kids. They trained for like 2.5 hours, put them through a bunch of different workouts. They had some competition at the end, 3-on-3. And I think the most important thing, or my favorite part of it, was it was absolutely free. He's been doing this for 4 years, absolutely free camp, and they feed the kids after the camp. Man, that was kind of cool,
That's
just to
huge.
experience. Yeah, really, really cool to experience
That's major.
for 2 to 2.5 weeks during the summertime. So I know there's a lot of good trainers. I just wanted to shout out EMD training that's in Rowlett, Texas. I want to also recognize and bring up a coach who's in Austin, Texas, he has an organization called Ward Inc. He's been doing a lot of good things for the Austin area and has some really exciting news that he would like to share. So,
I'm just honored to be here amongst great men. Shout out to Top Baller, the voice of the grassroots and Eyeball Nation. My name is Coach Ward. I'm the owner of Ward Incorporated. This past weekend, Eyeball Nation came to our tournament, The Takeoff, and it was an amazing experience. The great news that he just mentioned is we're coming to Dallas, Texas in August for the Ward High School Showcase. You do not want to miss this. It's going to be top teams from all over Texas, and it's just going to be an amazing experience.
All right, awesome. That's awesome. That's good stuff. Thanks for coming on too, Coach. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, I would like to talk. We can have a round about training. Like what what do we what do we like seeing, and what kind of training do we like seeing, and actually what kind of training do we think kids need more of? Let's say for instance, you're getting back into the basketball scene and you want to start training. Where do you start?
Um, I truly feel the best way to the only way to start. This is just my opinion. I feel the only way to start is with the fundamentals. Um, I don't believe kids should start playing basketball 5-on-5 at 5 years old. I believe that's where it's more of a learning experience, as far as learning how to dribble a ball, learning the rules of the game, learning what's a violation, what's not, learning how to even listen to a coach and tell you how to touch a line on a sprint. It's just some things you need to learn how to do. Some things you should train for before you're just thrown into the fire. That's just what I believe.
Yeah. I think the trainer needs to have patience.
For
Uh,
sure.
I think that's probably being a patient trainer and trying to actually find out, what gets the kid to actually understand what you're trying to do. A lot of these kids, especially when I've trained kindergartners and first graders and things like that, and you know, it's difficult because you have the kids that can't really pay attention, or you just have to figure out a way to translate it to make it fun. And I think that's one of the main things as well, making it fun. I think that once you progress in the years with training in regards to grade, I think it's important that kids need to actually, in your training session, they actually need to hoop. When I say hoop, you know, uh, grassroots growing up, we've talked before. We've always played 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, just hooping. You know,
exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
I believe in that aspect. I believe in that aspect, but I think a lot of coaches forget that when you're training, it's well, I'm not going to say really important, but sometimes you have to implement competitive drills. So if we're drilling today and we're doing ball handling, I don't mind doing a competitive drill to where we might do some footwork on one side and ball handling on one side, race to the middle and play 1-on-1.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's
I think
that's that's
I would have to agree with Top Baller on this one. only because and there's no wrong answer, to be honest, but
Right.
I guess it's like more of old school. Like the best teacher is just experience.
Yeah.
For sure.
You being in certain situations, yeah, you could do as much training as you want to,
Right.
but getting out there actually playing 5-on-5, I think your reaction, to certain things that is needed.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of kids be really good in the training aspect, but it doesn't translate necessarily on 5-on-5. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I,
Kids definitely got to get outside and play.
You know why I think it's like that, eyeball. So I think it's like that because you think about it, a lot of these kids, they're training, right? They
Yeah, they
train
don't play.
twice a week, then they have practice once or twice a week, but they're trying to implement the stuff that they're doing training in game time situations on game day. And,
Well, they don't play. Like
but play.
there's
Yeah,
no full course anymore. You can go to a rec center and it'd be completely empty. That was unheard of when we were growing up.
yeah. That's
These kids, they just don't play basketball. They train and go to tournaments.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I think that that's the main thing. You have your segments in your training where you do your drills, you do your
For
your
sure.
ball handling and things like that. But I think that you should dedicate, the last 30, 45 minutes to just rolling the ball out. Hey, whether it's king of the court or, whether it's, you're playing a two-man pickup game, 2v2,
Correct.
and just getting these guys or girls in a situation where they're actually just hooping and they're figuring it out.
what do you what do you
Correct.
think, Lord? I know you're in Austin, Texas. What's the atmosphere around the kids in that area, um, as far as like training versus playing? You feel like a lot of the kids are playing instead of training, or training more than they're playing?
From my experience, I've noticed it's a good balance. So today's youth, they do like to train, but they also love to be in the gym at the AAU tournaments. And I think personally, the best way to go about it is to have that proper balance to make sure that the kids are training, working on their weaknesses, but refining their strengths, but then taking that experience and that information they learn from the trainer and applying it in a real life game action.
Correct. Well, I want to backtrack for a second, fellas. Um, you talked about coming to Dallas and the tournament. What kind of atmosphere and what kind of players should we expect to be at this tournament?
At the tournament for the Ward High School
The
Showcase,
showcase, the showcase. I'm sorry, the
right.
showcase.
The showcase is going to be amazing talent. So at the takeoff, we had a lot of high level D1 student athletes that were there. And at
Mhm.
this particular tournament in Dallas, I know Dallas, shout out to Dallas, they have some of the best teams and student athletes. So at this particular tournament, it's going to be high level D1 prospects. There's going to be some great
Okay,
coaches. And so we want to encourage everyone to follow us on Instagram at Ward
nice.
Inc. 22. Please Google that, Ward Inc. 22 on Instagram. I promise you'll see some amazing content. Eyeball Nation has covered us. I know Steven personally for a few years. They're doing great
Mhm.
things, and we're just honored that God has brought us all together. And I believe in unity. And when we all come together, we can touch these youth's lives for the better.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. I just wanted you to elaborate a little more on that because I'm really interested in it. I've been seeing eyeball posted, and
Right.
we're excited about it.
Yes, the high school showcase. This is going to be, I believe, one of the best tournaments, not just in Texas, but in all of America. You're dealing with a tournament director who's very passionate about sports, about helping kids, shine and get that exposure. So you're going to be, no matter which pool that you're in, we have pool and bracket play. You're going to be challenged at the takeoff. 95% of all those games were within 3 to 10 points. That's unheard of. I've never seen that before at a tournament where the games came down to the final second. You have teams from Arlington, teams from San Antonio, Dallas, Lubbock. Shout out to Showtime Nation out of Lubbock, Texas. They did phenomenal. They traveled 6 hours to come to Austin. And they said they're going to come to the showcase. So you're going to be dealing with high level guards, and not just guards, but bigs that can defend on the perimeter, bigs that can dunk on you in traffic, guards that can catch alley oops. So I just want to encourage everyone in DFW to come out to the Ward High School Showcase. It's going to happen on 26th and 27th of August. It's an invite only. Follow me on Instagram, shoot me a DM. If you want to send me an email, wardinc.com@yahoo.com, I'll get you registered. You do not want to miss this.
And so I
love
do
it.
have a
I love
question.
it.
So, you mentioned the invite only. So what kind of goes into the criteria of, the type of talent that you want at your showcase?
At our showcase, we're looking for teams that are extremely skilled, student athletes that are coachable, great coaches. We're looking for teams that love the game of basketball and they want to compete at a high level. Teams that are not scared. In boxing, a lot of the top fighters are afraid to lose their O. We want the teams to come and say, you know what, put me in the mega pool. Put me, I'm coming. You know what I'm saying? I'm not afraid to play anyone. We want kids that are passionate about basketball and they just want to improve. Iron sharpens iron, you know what I'm saying? So if you got it in Dallas, can you go against the best in Austin? If you got it in San Antonio, how you going to do against a team from Arlington or Lubbock? So we just bring the best teams, just like the March Madness, the NCAA, they take the 64 top teams and they put them in a tournament. We're taking 48 of the top teams and putting them in one tournament and may the best team win.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there, man.
Love it. I love it. Last thing, Mr. Ward, if there's a few players that you would like to give a shout out to that you've noticed in that area, who would those players be?
Okay, starting off with sophomore, the best sophomore I've seen at the tournament. His name is Brad Miles. He plays for Focus Scholars, their 16U team. This student athlete is so amazing. He reminds me of Gary Payton and Kyrie Irving. Can you imagine that? The glove on the defensive side, he locks everyone up. It's hard for them to penetrate past him. I mean, he racks up steals. Then he finishes with acrobatic layups. His name is Brad Miles. Remember that name. He is going an NBA lottery pick. Mark my word.
That is an honorable comparison.
Yeah,
Boy,
and a bold
what's his name
statement.
again?
Yes, sir. And I tell you the truth, I call it like it is. Another shout out to a freshman guard out of Houston, Texas. He plays for Black Ops Elite under Coach Jay, an outstanding young man. His name is Cleveland Henry Slaughter. You have to check him out on Instagram. He plays for Black Ops Elite. Lightning fast, unselfish. He gets after it on defense. He's unguardable in my opinion because he's draining 30-foot threes. He's shooting floaters at the mid-range. He's racking up assists. His name is Cleveland Henry Slaughter out of Houston, Texas. So at my tournaments, I do something. I recognize the student athletes, and I have something called my all-ward tournament team. And so I have two teams. Brad Miles is on the first team along with Cleveland, another student athlete that I would like to recognize out of Dallas, Texas. Listen to this kid right here. His father is a SMU alumni. His name is Jordan Vasquez. He will go to the NBA. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you want to come to the National High School Showcase by Ward Incorporated. His name is Jordan Vasquez. He is the MVP of that tournament as a true freshman. He led his team Ice Elite to an undefeated takeoff showing. They beat everyone by double-digit points. This kid can shoot half-court shots like it's a layup. He can finish with his left, finish with his right. The thing that separates him is not his athleticism. It's his IQ and his skill set. This young man is committed to the game. Ice Elite is one of the top teams I've ever seen. Shout out to their coach, Coach Vasquez, Jordan's dad. That young man is so phenomenal. He reminds me of Steph Curry. You know how Steph Curry is. Steph Curry went to Davidson. He was overlooked. He reminds me of Steph Curry. He has the IQ. He keeps moving without the ball. He keeps his dribble alive. He has feints. He has hesitations. This kid is dangerous.
Oh yeah, we do. We have to. You definitely have to check this out, man.
Definitely want to be there.
If they're receiving praise like this, I have to see it. Top baller definitely has to be in the building.
Hey, Coach Ward, before you leave, send me those names. We definitely want to check them out. Put them in the comments so everyone that's listening can go back and follow them and check them out.
Yes, sir. I will do.
Cool. Well, we'll jump on to the next topic. I appreciate you, Mr. Ward, for joining us. We look forward to the upcoming showcase, and we'll be in conversation.
Thank you so much, guys. God
Hey,
bless.
hey, appreciate you, man.
Thank you,
For
Coach.
sure. All right.
All right. So now on to our next topic. We'll be discussing upcoming events. We got
And
some of the top upcoming.
before we go there, let's just piggyback off what he was saying. You know, some of the top ballers, and let's mention some of the top ballers that we have seen. You know, throughout the summertime, those that have impressed you in the most recent tournaments and stuff like that.
Whew, I'll let you go first, Grassroots. I'll let you go first because, man, I got quite a few ballers that I noticed.
Some of the players we've been paying attention to right now. Of course, we like what's his name, Xander Puigly from Young Pro. We've been looking at Baron Flannery the third, really talented. He's 2029, great size for a point guard, extremely hard worker. He can finish with either hand. Um, his IQ is good, but what makes his IQ so good, he takes advantage of his advantages, if that makes sense. He's very elusive with his handle, and he takes advantage of his height by passing the ball directly over the defense. I just love this kid, Baron Flannery the third. Plays for 2029 ticket and pylon pivot. He's a very good player. But him and Xander Puigly, those are two of the players that we've been having our eyes on right now.
And I want to go next because I know Top Baller has a long list, so I want you to follow me. I'm just gonna recognize a few. Obviously, I've seen a ton of talent, watched a ton of games, locally and nationally. I wanted to recognize a kid named Michael Gutner. He's a class of 2028 from Team Loaded. The kid just went off. It was a top matchup, number one going against number two, and he had a little over 31 points. He had 6 or 7 threes in the first half. The kid just went off, man. He showed up in a big moment, and that kid is gonna be special. He is special. Trice Carter at a 2031. The kid is very special. Point guard, has IQ, has the total package, can score, can get guys open, plays offense, and he plays defense. He has nice size to be for his guard. He was certainly different. Then I also want to recognize on the female side someone that has definitely impressed in the class of 2030, Layla Washington out of class of 2030. She's actually been playing up 2 grades the last few tournaments for Campbell Elite. She played also with Pro Skills. She's very aggressive. She's now getting her ball handle on a string. She's an unselfish player. She probably, if she looked to score every single time, she probably could average more than she puts up, but it's because she's such a team player and has the right IQ. She makes the right plays. So yeah, she's very, very special. And I'll let Top Baller go ahead and lead us into who he has.
Yeah, so I think one of my top ballers that, man, I was really, really impressed with. I was really impressed with the Trey Wright kid. Um, you know,
Oh yeah,
I was
yeah.
really, really. I
Pro
mean,
Skills.
I sat down. I sat down with I sat down with Eyeball Nation, and we sat and we just watched the game. And I mean, I watched a 7th grader that is actually, this is kind of funny, which is actually undersized, you would say, because there was some pretty big 7th graders on his team and on the team that he was facing. He controlled the pace of the game. I mean, this guy finishing around the rim, like at the elite level with his size, was just amazing. The way he controlled his body going to the rim, it was almost like he controlled his body the way that almost D Wade did. You know, even though he's more of kind of like a Kyrie-esque type player, but when he drove to the basket, the way he controlled his body was just, it was sick. It's just his playmaking abilities. He always made the right pass. He didn't pound the air out of the ball. Looking to make plays, the right pass, as I said, man, and his creating his own shot with his handle, he just got what he wanted, and it was just amazing seeing a kid that young just really get what he wanted.
Right.
But
And we seen him at the highest level, in my opinion, playing against some top teams. So it wasn't like he was playing against the Fieldhouse or YMCA
he played
level.
against 99 overall, right?
Yeah, it was
That
99
was
overall. He also played, against some other top teams, and to be able to see how well he was able to, um, basically after the game, you left saying who's number one
yes.
every single game. So that was impressive to be able to see that in that type of tournament, that
Yeah,
type of atmosphere.
100%, 100%. I think so. And this kid was out of 2028. I'm kind of going out of order with the years, but I think in 2031, I think everybody's talking about Christian from Southern Assault. He's the you know
Oh yeah,
the huge Amazon 6'3" kid in the fourth grade.
you can't tease size.
You can't.
You can't tease size.
You cannot. And the crazy part about it is he has some great habits. When he catches the ball, he keeps it above his head. He's clearly almost 4 to 5 inches taller than everybody that he faces.
Right.
Finishes strong. I mean, the sky's the limit once he gets his post game bag going. The sky's gonna be the limit for this guy, man. And
And listen, like I seen the kid last year, completely different kid, man.
really.
I believe last year was his first year playing.
I
And
agree.
this year it looks like he's been playing for at least 5 years.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
Yeah. Shout
and
out to his trainer, man. I don't know who his trainer is, but shout out
yeah,
to his trainer, man. You're doing a good job with it.
yeah,
Yeah,
coach is
kid's
doing a
been
really
working.
good job.
Yeah. One more kid I think that everybody's been talking about, and you guys already know who I'm going to bring up. It's the Kobe Bryant kid, man.
Man, he's special.
He's
Hey, I said this to you the other day. If you have the name Kobe Bryant, you
you
gotta
got
go there too.
you got
Give
Yeah,
to,
him a
man.
choice.
Let me explain what I see from this kid, man. This kid, it is hard. So, it's hard to teach a kid to be a downhill type of player. All the kids want to do fancy crossovers and move horizontal and kind of move, side to side. But man, this kid, he gets exactly what he wants, and he's forcing that issue. Like it's actually bully ball when it comes to him. And I don't see any guard right now in this class that could actually compete with him. I mean, you guys, grassroots, you let me know. But in the class of 2031, when it comes to guards getting exactly what they want and pressing that issue, man, from what I've seen when he was playing the ball on the beach and other highlights that I've seen, it's not comparable to me.
yeah, he's certainly different. And I also brought Coach Brian. Are you on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you
Yeah, we
now.
can hear you. Yeah.
Okay,
What's
cool.
happening,
I
gentlemen?
brought Coach Brian on for
What's going
Maxie.
on, Coach Brian?
What's going on, Brian?
Uh, I'm good, man. How are you guys?
All right.
Doing all right.
So yeah, we were just sitting here talking about a few players, and we mentioned the kid Kobe Bryant. I'm sure you know him pretty well. Played against him a couple times. Just wanted to get your feedback on the type of player that he is, and also like a few other kids that we should be recognizing and noticing that's been playing pretty well this summer.
Okay. Are you talking about locally or nationally?
Both.
Well, I think Kobe Bryant and that's what kind of was discussing before. I think Kobe should definitely be number one.
Mm.
And then, yeah, I'm a Cam Potts fan. Because of his size and the things that he does on the court, there's things that other players don't do. I think his skill set is better than 99% of the players that's out there. Trying to think of who else. From a national perspective, if we're talking guards.
What about the Malachi kid from Texas United?
In
Makai.
2031?
I'm sorry, Makai. I'm sorry.
I like Makai.
Man, that guy's a sharpshooter, man.
Yeah, I like Makai.
Yeah, it's impressive because he shoots the exact same way every single time. You can tell he's in the gym. When we talk about hoopers, we can tell he's in the gym.
Oh yeah.
You can tell he's in the gym.
Are,
I
are
got,
you
I got.
where are you positioning? Where are you positioning him as far as his rating, his ranking?
Well, we're not talking about rating right now. It's more so just the skill level of the kids right now. I think, but as far as if you want to say rankings, he's certainly one of the top for sure. You know, he's when we talk about,
We
you
just
know,
we're just basically giving some kids some notoriety that's been playing well so
oh yeah,
far
yeah,
this summer.
they've been playing well for sure, for sure. Yeah,
Gotcha, gotcha. I understand. Yeah, I agree with you all with Makai.
He's one of the best in his class for sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's one of the
He's a
best in
top
his
player.
class. For sure. We got to give a shout out to the younger ballers too. Who's your 2033 ballers? The bucket babies. Who? Give me some bucket.
For us over here at Grassroots, we are a huge fan of who we have come to call Mr. Texas, Kendall Cardell Mitchell.
Here he goes.
We believe that he is the best player in 2033. But that's our opinion. That's our
hey,
opinion. Cardell Mitchell is
Coach Brian, do you feel like it's too early to call somebody the best
1000%.
in the second grade? Okay.
well for sure, for sure. Well for sure. You can't well I'm not speaking for the future. I'm speaking so far as who's been playing well this summer. I feel like he's had the best summer so far for 2033. No one's competing with him. He can outscore anyone.
And he's 2030.
2033, yes, Cardell Mitchell.
Hey. I gotta give a shout out to one kid that I'm really big on right now, and that's Tylen from the Ball Out Elite. I think they're out of OKC. They're
Yeah.
out of OKC. Oh my! Like this kid is so aggressive to be this young. His name is Tylen Stevenson. Just extremely talented, slashing to the cup and finishing with ease. I mean, I think one of the things that I was amazed with was just his footwork, man. It's like his first step was nasty. Like he was just getting past, you know, everybody just getting whatever he wanted. And another guy, because that ball out elite team was really good. They had another guy, young Rico. He was
Yeah,
man,
Rico
he's a
Childs.
bully.
Yep.
He is
Yeah.
a bully.
And like I said earlier, it is hard to say who's the top or but we can categorize kids and put them in a category and say, yeah, these are pretty, they're ahead of their time. I say it like that,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
You can see a kid's talent the way they play
Exactly.
now, and say in the next 3-4 years the kid is still kind of doing this. What you can't predict though is height, whether the kid's gonna grow, whether the kid's still gonna have a passion for the game.
Yeah.
And so obviously we just want to really recognize those that
For
we
sure.
see right now. Not necessarily put a number on it. This is one, this is two, but just really to recognize the kids that we're seeing putting in the work and advancing each and every year.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
What about that? Isn't there a kid named Chunk or something everyone's talking about? Is he 2033?
Yeah, I do, like from Texas United.
Uh-huh.
Texas United. Yeah, he's nice. Him and Lil B
Okay, I haven't
Fields over
seen him
there.
yet.
Yeah.
Hold on, hey, hold on. Is that the kid that was a sharpshooter that was real animated and he was getting hype in that game we watched at the was that the GSE?
So that was little Brandon Fields, Jr.
Okay.
That was hitting all those threes in that game.
Yeah,
But
the curly
Monk is
hair
on that
kid.
team too. That team is actually loaded with
Oh
talent.
my
Yeah, I was
god.
gonna say that team is really good. That team is
Yeah,
really
Oh my
good.
god.
the team is advanced. You can tell they put in the work and the training. I'm
For
excited to see
sure.
what they're gonna continue to do over the next
I
couple
would
of
I
years.
would love to see those. I would love to see them play against Live On. That'll be a great game.
Bro, let me tell you what was so exciting about that team is that, bro, they were running a full court, press like a trap. And these kids are first grade, right? 2033, that's first grade, right? First, second grade, maybe, I guess. These kids were rotating on defense like perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, hey, shout out, who is that? That's Texas United. Shout out to the Texas United.
Yeah. I mean,
God,
Will
it's
want to be good.
clearly a compliment. It's a compliment to the coaching staff,
That's
and the
Coach
parents that
Fields.
put
Coach
in the
Fields and
work,
Coach Austin. Good job.
and the parents that put in the work, sacrifice to have their kids in that position.
Now, wouldn't that be? Isn't that Cannon Harper as well? Isn't he in that grade?
I believe so. Cannon Harper. Yep.
I think he's
2033. He's
32.
on that team as well. Is he?
Okay.
I think he's 33. I think he's 33.
I mean,
Yeah. They're loaded with talent. They're loaded.
Yeah, I think actually, you know what? I think you might be correct. Because doesn't Field's son play up?
I'm
not sure.
I'm not sure. We have to go back.
I don't want to lie about that. I don't know.
Okay.
Not sure.
Yeah. Also, one more person that we got to give a shout out. We got to give a shout out to little CJ for Dallas Showtime, man.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
For sure.
nice.
CJ Davis. CJ's an absolute monster.
And let's not forget about the coach too. And the coach, he's an awesome coach for that 2032 team.
Shout out Chris Davis. Yeah. Shout out Chris Davis.
Shout out Chris Davis. Shout out little CJ. Man, keep balling.
So, Coach Brian, what are some of the upcoming tournaments that you're looking forward to for the rest of the summer? I know this weekend there's the Road to Nationals going on in San Antonio. It looks like it's pretty stacked on the boys and the girls side with the number of teams that's in the tournament. Are there any other big tournaments that's going on this summertime that you're looking forward to?
I think Coast to Coast here in Dallas is going to be the one to go and really evaluate players, especially here locally. I mean, I would imagine every good team in the region is going to be there.
Great. How do you see the 2031 class with Christian Bale being such a center? Do you actually stepping up during the tournament and making a name for himself?
No. I don't.
No.
I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, the kid is 7 foot tall playing against 5 foot kids.
Yeah. No, because I really want to know. The reason I asked because you guys over there at Max, I'll have post players that are aggressive, that have post presence. So I was wondering if you guys do end up playing as a Christian Bale, what kind of game shots for defense?
So we just acquired a big that defensively, I'm hoping that he would be able to guard him straight up instead of us having to, deny him with two people, someone face guard and someone behind him like a lot of people do.
Correct, because that's what everyone, right.
Correct. And I think to your point, I think with Kobe being on their team is going to make everything easier for Christian. I have not seen them play in person, but I'm just imagining from a coach's perspective, now you've got a player that you really have to pay attention to that can get downhill, that can dump it off to Christian. Now, I don't know if he dumps it to Christian, but I would imagine if I was coaching or if I was assisting Norris and we were discussing strategies, if I know I got someone like Kobe that can get to the hole and collapse, get the defense to collapse, it's an easy dump off to Christian to put it up. And I'm not sure if there's anybody in Dallas that has the ability to do that.
Hey, hold on. Let's not forget that Young Pro Global team that they actually defeated Southern Salt in the, what was that? Was that the GSE?
Yeah, they did.
Was Kobe playing?
Defense, though.
But my only question is just this: slow down Bale. Will Brian have a bad game? There were a lot of things that Southern Salt had going on this.
Oh yeah.
right
Oh,
mindset
no, Kobe.
the last game. There
But
were a lot of
also in their defense,
right. There was no Kobe.
wasn't in the lineup, right?
Yeah.
But so it's
Correct.
a little bit different. It's a little bit different strategy or game whenever you add, you know, a
There was
player
no
like that.
Kobe.
Kobe is the Christian of guards.
Man, let
Like,
me give you guys an example, man. Like, this is how great Kobe is. When we played Southern Assault the beginning of the season, we lost by 7 and we had no fear of them. It was literally, we had 2 practices. We played against them and it was just like, oh, we can beat them. No, like we just need more time in the gym and we just need to get a big. But we had Ty, I don't know if you guys ever seen him, but it's the white kid with the goggles. I think Christian scored 6 points that game, if I'm not mistaken. But then with the addition of Kobe, the coaching staff is like, bro, this is gonna be ridiculous. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do.
we just got to comment. We just got to
Right.
comment. Someone commented, Young Bulls beat them. Yes, Young Bulls actually did beat this team at the Ball on the
They did
Beach
by
tournament, and
almost 20
it was it was one sided. So
dominant
it was one sided.
performance.
Yeah, but they
So
also beat them. They also beat them with a kid that's like almost 13 years old.
I mean,
I
we
mean,
cannot
there's
confirm or
no
deny that
proof in that.
information.
No, the
There's no
birth
proof.
certificate. No,
I can't.
no
We can't
the coach.
confirm.
No, I'm telling you, Mon's coach posted the communication between him and the balling on the beach, and his birthday was in 2011. So if your birthday's in 2011, like January, I think it was, you're almost 13 years old. You're 12 right now in 4th grade. You're supposed to listen. That's like putting Steve against 2nd graders. He's going to score 70.
I can't confirm or deny. What I like to do though is get Young Bulls coach on the line as well if we could.
Hey, come on in, man.
If you listening, come on in. Yeah, to
I
see
would
what
love to.
what
I would
actually
love to.
happened. Because we've seen Amon play on many different big tournaments.
Oh,
And, this wasn't any
We got another
issue.
comment
And this,
at the
and
bottom.
let me say this though. Let me say this first before we go any further. This podcast is not to bash any kids. All right, that's not what we're gonna do. We're not gonna bash any kids or something. In fact, the Young Bulls player that we're referring to, he is really good, and I feel like he's that way in 2031, 2030, and I think he can compete in 2029. This is a special kid. So,
Agreed.
but
Hey,
some of
isn't
the
this
things that's being shared, we just can't confirm.
yeah, yeah. Hey, look, isn't this the kid that I saw he was finishing with both hands? Like,
Yeah, he finishes very well, has good ball control. He's another player that comes downhill, has good
I saw
size.
this
I love
kid play in he broke us and he was still finishing through contact.
stud. We like him. We like top
So that's
baller.
neither here nor there.
And
Sebastian.
Coach Brian,
Yeah,
let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this, just in general. Whose job is it, or who has the responsibility in situations where, and this is one of the topics that we're going to get into. We may just start here. It might be a perfect segue. When it comes to like reclassing, is that on the tournament host? Is that on coaches? Is that on parents? Is it a problem to reclass? Is it the solution for the kids? Like, what's your opinion on that?
I mean, I think reclassing is going to be here forever. So I just personally think that the parents and the coaches just have to deal with it and they play.
I 100% agree. It's something that you're not going to get away from. You got to deal with it, and you have to learn how to adjust. I mean, you know, you hear lots of people complain about it, but guess what? You just got to get over the hump. You just got to deal with it. It's within the rules, you know. As long as the kids have their, their correct documentation. If someone protested, then, hey, let's tie our shoes and play. It is what it is, right? It is what it is.
I think I think it's just very difficult for parents if they've got a kid that is 9 in fourth grade and they're playing against kids that are 11 or about to be 12 years old. There's a significant difference in that kid's physical abilities. And so it does seem excessive, but it is within the rules. So if you choose to be in the AAU circuit, that's kind of what you've got to deal with, or play in the circuit that just goes strictly by age.
How do you feel about this grassroots? How do you feel about this? Are we having any technical difficulties?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he can hear you or anything right now.
Yeah.
But I think it is kind of hard, especially when I say UIL rules kind of allow for it. So I don't think that it is here to stay. It is within the rules. And the only way I feel like or see it changing is if you see the rules within UIL changing. So as long as the rules are the rules, you're going to see this. And I think, too, what we're not taking into consideration is,
Can you not hear me? Can you guys not hear me?
reclassing was not a big thing whenever we were coming up, or at least when I was coming up. But what was a big thing that is kind of the old reclass was you had players that redshirted. They set out a year, didn't play their freshman year, and then they got 4 extra years. Or, you have players that still do this now, but you go to prep school and you get that fifth year, in high school. So I think as a parent, looking back on your careers, people do wonder, what it would have been like if they had an extra year. I know for myself, I graduated at 17. So if I had another year, who knows? Even if I did have another year, maybe it still wouldn't have mattered. And so, but for some kids, it does. And so,
Yeah.
I think it is here to stay, like I said, and it's something that the kids just have to play with.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a battle of. I mean, you hear certain arguments that say that, hey, it's probably a little too premature to reclass a kid so early, but I mean, you also see kids, like I said, get that extra fifth year in high school, and their argument is waiting to see if he actually needs that year. So I don't know. It's tough. Well, how do you feel, Grassroots? Is Grassroots on?
Nah, he looks like he having some troubles. He might jump back on. But
Okay.
Brian, do you feel like it's not to put you on the spot, and you don't necessarily have to answer it directly if you don't want to, but do you see reclassing being something that is a good thing, is a positive thing for players?
To be quite honest with you, man, I think it is when you get to high school, if you have an idea of the trajectory of what your kid is going to be on. I'm not sure who said it earlier, but sometimes I do think it's premature to do it, second, third, fourth, fifth grade, because there's so many things that you have to take in consideration. I mean, most of these kids haven't even hit puberty yet. So once that hits, things change drastically. I mean, I remember growing up and all the kids that were tall in fourth and fifth grade, they ended up being the same height, and all the kids that were short ended up being taller than them. So, I think every family's got to make the best decision for their kid. But, my son is young, right? And so he realistically could reclass to third right now, or I guess would be fourth. But that would never be a decision that would be made unless we were closer to high school and, you know, people that we know and trust was like, this would be a good idea for him, because of, you know, whatever the reason why it might be. But I think it's just it's a great conversation, man. But it's hard for me to say if it's good or bad, to be honest with you, man.
Hold on, am I seeing that the Young Pro Global coach wants in, or the Young
Yes,
Bulls?
yeah. Oh, I don't know if it's Young Bulls. I know we have Young Pro Global wanted to commit.
Yeah, the link is in the bio. Actually, it's in the comments, so you can click on the link and he can join. So it's fair to say, Coach Brian, it's development over winning.
I believe in that
Okay.
at this particular moment, but I also think that it's good for kids to be a part of a program that is winning and to understand that, you know, that winning culture and be around kids that are extremely good. That's going to help push them.
Yes. In the voice, do you want to give an input on the whole reclass situation? Where you think it's an issue, a problem, or you feel like there's some solutions in that?
Honestly, in my opinion, reclass, as Coach Brian said earlier, is going to be here forever. If we're complaining about reclass, that means you don't plan on your kid playing varsity as a freshman. Uh, Honestly, there's a lot to do with reclass. To me, people are reclassing for the wrong reasons. There's some kids that are completely undersized, that are completely undeveloped. Your kid should be playing in a rec league, or at least trying to get better in order to play elite ball. But if your kid is undeveloped or undersized, you shouldn't play down just for him to win accolades. That makes zero sense to me. I believe that a reclass should be done, even if you benefit from reclassing up because the class above you isn't as good as the class you're in. You can benefit from that. Reclassing down, like as Coach Brian said, I don't think it really benefits you unless you're older. You have kids that go to prep school. You have kids who play as unsigned seniors at AAU. There's just a lot of other options before reclassing a kid in the second, third, fourth grade.
And
Can I?
if there's any other, I'm hold on one second, Brian. I'll let you speak. If there's anybody in the comment section, parents, coaches that's listening, tuning in, if you want to chime in, the link to join is actually in the comments. You can click on the link and join in on this conversation as we talk about reclassing. Is it the problem? Is it a problem, or is it actually a solution for some of these kids? Go ahead, Coach Brown.
So how you just posed that question, I think was excellent. Yes, I think it could be a solution for some kids in particular situations, right? But in my opinion, at this age, I think a lot of people reclass because there's a lot of pressure on parents. The reason why I say that is because I have an organization that's purely grassroots, right? And we're developing kids so they can one day go and play AAU. And countless times, excuse my voice, I've been coaching this week, but countless times we get parents saying, my kid is behind. Should I reclass? You know, my kid is not on the same level as, you know, they'll come, I'm just speaking of Dallas. They'll go to maybe a primetime tournament and they'll see a Southern Assault or a Hunt United, and their kid the gap is humongous. And they feel like they have to reclass because they don't think that their kid can fill that gap. And I think when you watch Instagram, excuse me, when you watch Instagram and you're watching Facebook and you're seeing these rankings and all of that, it adds pressure to parents because kids don't want to fail. And so the problem is the emotions that comes with basketball, the emotions of seeing your son not be on the level of a kid that's 9 or 10, and your kid wants to be that way. And since we're not the type of people that push our kids, create a plan and say, this is what you should do, we do what's next easiest thing is, and we'll hold you back. And I think that's the problem with youth basketball. You know, these parents, I hear parents talk to me all the time. And I can say with full certainty that a lot of them pay more attention to these rankings and these kids than kids do. My son is 10. He has no idea who majority of the kids are that's on these top baller lists. I don't let him look at it. We don't do any of that because you run your own race. And I think if more parents paid attention to the main thing, which is development, and created a plan and went by it step by step, day by day, we'd have less people reclassing for, I don't know if it was Top Baller who said that or whatever, but for the wrong things. And then you can make the decision as years go on and you say, okay, well, you're in 8th grade, 9th grade, and you're not very good. We probably shouldn't reclass you. But if you seem like you're on that trajectory to make it to that next level, then yes, now we go ahead and reclass you. Sorry for the long answer, my friends.
So, if so, I do have a question. If he's already, if he's in his true class, class compared to age is his true. He's never been reclassed, and he's on that trajectory. What are the benefits of reclassing him when he's already dominating? Like
No idea.
reclassing him down.
I mean, I'm not saying that this is the thing to do or is right or whatever. Just to answer the question, a year is a year. Having an extra year to do something, whether it's football, basketball, whether it's doing swimming, it could be something else. Not even with sports. Learning how to play an instrument. Having an extra year does matter. Especially in the younger age group. Where it does not matter, obviously, is once they get to high school. Because once they get to high school, you're playing against kids that are 3-4 years older than you. So, in cases where you do have kids that reclass, I think it's just as important to make sure that they play up as much as possible as well. And we got Coach Tookie on the line that wanted to join in. What's going on, Coach?
What up, man? Yeah, I was just wanted to touch on the Young Bulls situation. What Southern Assault ain't saying is they beat the Young Bulls in Houston at the Cinco de Mayo by 16 plus. And they didn't protest then. And Amon was on the court. So that was my only thing about the situation.
Hold on, wait. Coach Tookie, are you the coach for Young Bulls?
I'm the coach for Young Pro, but we had 3 of our young pro players on with the Young Bulls at Ballin' on the Beach.
Ah, okay.
Gotcha. Okay. Let me ask you a quick question because I know you were able to pull off the win against Southern Assault at the MSI tournament, right?
Yeah, it was
okay. What was kind of the strategy? Because we're talking with a couple other coaches. It seems like they are one of the teams to beat, but you were able to put together a squad that was able to take down this team.
Xander, he's not.
Xander is on a different level. He controls the game. Let's just put it that way.
Gotcha.
But
I agree.
I'll answer it for him.
But we still had to get to the hole, and our guards still had to knock down the big shots. But we just had our big man Cruz. He's not very tall, but he's big kid. You got to push on him. Just push on him. Make him uncomfortable.
Hey, Coach.
Big kid. He had got into an altercation, so I told him just push.
Hey, Coach. I will say your team is very, very hard to beat just based off of your guard play. You guys have some. You got the Xander kid. You got. I'm not sure if Andreas plays with you, full time, but you had him. You had who was the other curly head kid
AJ,
that was just shooting the lights out?
AJ.
Oh my God! Yeah. There is a big advantage for having a kid like Christian but I think you have the equalizer with guards. With in regards to the Xander kid, I mean, he's a complete blur. Like I mean, I had a hard time finding him until he went to the hole and I seen the ball go in the bucket. I mean,
Yeah,
the
he's
kid.
different, man. He's definitely a game changer. But yeah, the kid AJ from Cali, he's originally from the Guard Dogs. He messes me, but everybody wants to play with Xander. Everybody wants to team up with Xander because he's just different. But
Tell
it's
me what
just
you think about Andreas.
Andres, man. He's let's just put it this way. He's a blessing in disguise. He just went off today in San Antonio. He's I don't know. His dad reached out at a perfect time, like because Xander can't. Xander's from Ohio. Y'all might not know that, but he can't make it out here every time. So just adding AJ with my Texas kids is just different. We can still compete, and we were really hoping that Tatum would have came. Tatum, I'm bad with names. Tatum Jackson would have came through and played with us too this weekend. It would have just, turned it up a level on the guard play.
Oh yeah.
So it made us a lot stronger. But when we got Andres is his name, AJ, I call him AJ Green. AJ Green from Dallas. We picked up.
He's nice.
Uh,
Andres is nice. Like
yeah, he's super nice.
Man, I keep telling everybody about Andreas. He's nice, man. Like he he has everything.
Yeah, he can go fast. He can play slow. That's what I like him. He can control the game pretty well, and he can shoot the ball. He can get all three levels.
Yeah, Andres is a complete basketball player. I agree.
He's a bigger Xander, except he's not as fast.
Exactly. Xander's speed sets him apart, but they play the same. So having them two on the court, and then my son, he's more of just a knockdown shooter. He don't miss many threes, but with them two getting to the hole and kicking it
I
out.
like your kid though. I like your kid. He's very, like you said, he's a knockdown shooter, great IQ, good passer. He's a great teammate. I love your kid. I love him.
Hey,
Hey,
So
Coach.
can I ask you a question, Coach? So I noticed that you do have kids that come from all over the country, basically Cali, of course Dallas, Ohio. How do you get the kids to jail? Like when you're meeting up at tournaments, I know there's not a lot of practice time. How does that dynamic work?
man,
Trust in Xander.
that and even with him though, sometimes he don't trust it. He's like, man, I haven't seen play defense. Everything else is gonna follow, but we want we shots, not me shots. And everything else, for fourth graders, man, I'm pretty impressed.
Hey, I like it.
Hey, we posed this question earlier, Coach. We were talking about reclassing, and we wanted to know, like, is it a problem? Because it's something that has been going on, obviously. Is that a problem, or is it a solution for many kids?
Man, like say when we played, we were on the opposite end with Amon. We played Amon in Ohio. I told my kid, everybody's like, man, have you seen this video? Kids talk. I'm like, man, it's a reclass or not, you still got to play. Even when you get older, you still got to lace up and play. So, I mean, if they want to win and the trophy's that bad right now, then, I mean, we'll just play it anyway, see how it goes. So
I like that attitude.
we don't really have a problem with it over here, so we don't really judge about it. We all got to play. We all got to train. We all got to work.
I don't know. I mean, I never played junior varsity in high school or freshman basketball. So essentially, I played against kids like him all 4 years in high school. So I don't see a problem with it. Toughened up. Let's get to it and ball.
Exactly. And what I say now is they giving our kids a favor. Y'all doing our kids a favor. if that's how it is, we'll take a favor right now, and we'll be better in the long run.
I do got a question for you, though, Coach. So, your give me your top teams, your most competitive teams that you played against so far this summer.
Well, first off, I'm gonna say the top team that we faced that just gave us the run for it would be game Phenoms, Hoosier Phenoms. The one who won Balling on the Beach, we played them in Missouri, and Trice Carter. It was fun to watch him and Xander, and I don't know if y'all know Makai Broussard from Cali.
Yeah, that's
Makai Broussard
the
is
curly head
tough.
kid.
He has a mohawk kind of
Yes.
like
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
when
about.
I say the kid can fill it up, he can fill it up from anywhere on the floor. That was to watch David Ice. We just didn't have a answer for David Ice, and they beat us by 8. But so I would say them, and Southern Assault, man. Southern Assault's tough, especially adding Kobe. Watching with my son play with the Young Bulls, and just adding Kobe makes it hard. It's gonna be hard, but like I told the Young Bulls coach, I said, man, make Kobe shoot the 3, and we still got to everybody box out on the big man. Let them get downhill, they gonna kill you.
There's
So
not too many
those
kids
two,
that
and then
go downhill like
hello.
yeah.
Can you hear me?
You don't see too many kids go downhill like Kobe, man.
No, The only other person I'll tell you who he reminds me of is a 2030 Ray Peterson, Baby Ray. They're big.
I actually know his father.
Yeah, they're big. They're just strong guards.
That the Baby Ray, he's so aggressive. Like it's like he is the most aggressive guard I've seen in the class. What is he? He's 2030?
Yeah, he's 2030.
Yeah, man, that kid is aggressive. Oh my God. The lefty.
Yeah, the lefty. And then the third team I would say is JBL and the Guard Dogs.
I'm surprised you didn't say JBL first. That's
We haven't played him. We haven't got to play him, JBL, at all. We haven't seen him. That's why I didn't throw him in there.
Hey, you know, I watched JBL play. What is that? The Charging Elite. And man, they could have very well lost to that team.
It could have went either way, right? I was standing there watching too. It was. I thought Charging Elite should have won.
Yes, yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm trying to be as neutral as I can, but yeah, I thought that I was why the way everything was going, it just seemed like Charging Elite was going to come back and win.
And also, in fairness, they didn't have their entire roster. So they were playing with some other guest players, and I know they had, I guess, the main players, but the main players that you would say for JBL, but they still were missing some pieces or a piece.
Well, my thing is, what is his name, Mason Harper? How does he not get off the bench in 3 games?
Hey,
well, we want to speak facts. He's one of the best big men in the country.
Who are you talking about?
How do you feel about that, Grassroots?
Who was that he's talking about?
Mason Harper. What ain't that his name?
Ace Harper.
Ace Harper.
Oh wow, that's major. I didn't know that happened. I wasn't aware of it.
So I actually tuned into the game because I really wanted to analyze Ace, you know, with me being top baller and, you know, trying to analyze, you know, great talent against good teams, right? And I was kind of frustrated because I didn't get a chance to see him play. So I was really wanting to see him play, especially against the top talent. And honestly, I would say he probably played maybe no more than maybe 10 minutes.
The
And that
kid is
comes. I mean,
still
that's
the
that's
kid
a
is
coaching decision, though. You know, it's a It's, I don't think it has
yeah,
anything to do
yeah,
with
yeah.
talent, honestly.
The kid can play. The kid can play.
Yeah.
Oh he for sure can play. I know.
No,
I
yeah,
seen
that's
how-
what I'm saying. If he was on my team, he wouldn't be coming out.
He's definitely that skill. He is.
Yeah, so that
It,
it didn't make sense to
uh,
me.
so we're gonna see him in a Young Pro Global, Coach Took.
Oh, he welcome anytime. If he listens, he can pull up. If he want to come to San Antonio tomorrow, we got a jersey for him.
Hey, coach, Tuka, hey, what's your pitch for Ace right now? If Ace is listening,
Man, hey Ace, you didn't like how you were treated in Florida. You won't ever have to worry about that in a YPG uniform, and that's on my mama.
Hey, Coach Tukey, I got his dad's number. You want me to text him for you?
Go ahead, tell
Hey,
him.
look. Here at the recap, man, we all about making great things happen, baby. That's all. We all about making great things happen.
That's what it's about, man. I
Hey,
heard
so-
y'all
that's
touching
awesome.
on good.
That's
I
awesome.
was driving back. I live an hour and a half from San Antonio. I was driving back right when I got the message to click on. So y'all was talking good subjects, so I wanted to chime in.
Yeah,
we appreciate you, man.
yeah, for sure.
So y'all go ahead and wish us luck, and y'all gonna be seeing a YPG championship picture this Sunday.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
hope so. Y'all finish strong, man. Y'all finish strong.
All right, good luck, coach. Hey, what's your Instagram, man? Tell everybody your Instagram so they can follow you.
YPG 31, Young Pro Global 31, class of
All right,
31.
cool. Appreciate it.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you. Hey, that's good stuff right there, man.
Yeah, I like that. So, moving forward, what we got next, ball?
All right, let me take a look. So, yeah, appreciate you being able to bring on Coach Tukey from Young Pro Global. They're out there in San Antonio right now competing in the Road to Nationals in the 4th grade division. They got a pretty solid lineup for this weekend. I believe it's a little over 40 something teams I heard in that division. So I look forward to seeing them this weekend and seeing how that outcome comes. So we did want to recap a little bit of the ball on the beach. We'll end it like that. I know some of you were able to go, some of you were able to watch it from home, and seeing some highlights and different things like that online. So we wanted to just recap the ball on the beach. There was some mini upsets that happened, many good games that were played, a lot of craziness that happened with different protests and things like that. So we wanted to touch base on that.
Well, there was definitely a couple protests that upset me. I feel, and this is just my opinion. Us here at Grassroots, we don't believe in protests. We don't believe that you should protest, especially after you've already played the game and lost. That's like hitting the reset button. It's completely unfair. You rob the kids of their victory, and if you felt the kid needed to be protested, you should do it before the game. Don't take a risk and try to chance how you compete against the best, and then when it doesn't work out for you, you protest. That's not fair to me.
What are your thoughts on that, Coach Brian? Do you feel like, have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to protest a team, and if so, like, was that a thought before the game or after the game?
I agree with. I'm sorry, I'm not unsure who it was who just spoke, but everything he said, I absolutely agree with him. And as far as us is concerned, no, we haven't. I mean, we've been in one instance when we knew that a coach was playing older kids, and so before the game, I walked up to him. I said, "Coach, I know that these certain kids are older. This is a 4th grade tournament. we would appreciate it if you can keep it to the 4th grade. And he told me, oh, yeah, don't worry about it, coach. We'll go ahead and, they're not going to play this, that, and the other. Then the game started. The next thing I know, the 5th graders walking out there. And so I turned to him and, we remedied the situation before the game started and everything was good. But I think I would never play a game and then lose and then protest it.
And that was the most respectful way to handle that. I think you did that perfectly.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
And I think I don't know. I feel like I'm indifferent to this situation too, because like an instance like what you just said, where you had a conversation, the conversation seemed as though the coaches were on the same page. You get out there and jump ball, and things change. What if the coach kept playing those kids and y'all lost, and this is a big tournament? The parents, obviously the players still want to play. You feel like you'll just walk away from that?
Well, fortunately, in that particular situation, the tournament director was standing right there. And so before the game even started, the tournament director already knew of what potentially could happen. So in my opinion, I feel like it's best for a coach. Listen, we're all men, right? So if I know that you have a kid older, I should be able to have that game starts. And then if you tell me that he's not going to play or they are not going to play or whoever, you still put him in there, then now you've just basically lied to me. So now we should have a protest. But I think to save kids' embarrassment, because kids are only doing what us adults allow them to do. So in my opinion, I think it should be worked out with the coaches before the game even starts. And then you take it to the higher authorities before the game starts. Just my 2 cents.
Agree. And another reason I believe that's like he said, I think this is a big point of why you should do it before the game. You save the kids embarrassment. That's one of the biggest things to me. For one, the kid doesn't go out there and what if the kid loses? What if he goes out there, he plays down, and he's losing? That's not gonna do anything for his confidence in the future.
Well, let's take for example, and mention and highlight a program like Hunt United, the 2030 team, which they've been able to win like 120 something games in a row. I don't know too many teams that have done that on any level at any time.
It was actually 160 plus.
There you go, 160 plus games in a row without a loss. And they suffered, some upsets this weekend. And you could argue to say that they were in the same situation where they're playing against kids that we would say are reclasses. Is that fair to a Hunt United team who has won so many games and now they have to suffer a loss because of reclassing?
Exactly. That's why with him being with that program being with such dominance, such prestige, he should have had the ability. Hell, he should be welcome to protest before games because he's put the work in. Because they're playing by the rules, because they're dominating. They should be able to protest before a game. I don't see a problem with protesting before the game. It's the same. The embarrassment part is the same thing when before or after. The only thing that's benefiting to do it before the game is that you don't save face and say, oh, the only reason you guys won is because you had a reclass.
Yeah, and let me say this, based on your last statement, I'm not saying that was echoed at all. I think
I'm not saying that.
I just want to say this, get this out there though.
Yeah.
Hunt United played the game.
Okay.
They played whoever was in front of them, and all of the games were competitive. The games that they suffered a loss, those were all close games. They were like 2-point games, 1-point games. So it wasn't like
it's not to knock Hunt at all. Yeah.
It wasn't a landslide, and it was clear that they're playing against older kids, and they are still the number one team in that class. But
Correct.
to be obviously going against kids that have reclass. It puts who is that on? Is that on the team? Is that on the parent? Or is that on the
It's on the
organization?
director. It's on the program. It's on the program director. Because for one,
It's on the
all
tournament
right,
director.
yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, I said program. I meant tournament director. And I said that because the protest that happened with the Southern game and the other team, Guard Dogs, the Young Bulls, it's a perfect example. If I'm able to send you documents that's allowing this kid to come sign up, when I get there, I should also produce these documents. I shouldn't be asked to produce these documents if I might get in trouble if someone's uncomfortable. I should have to produce these documents on arrival.
Okay, so what more? And this is a question I'm posing to anybody. What more can a tournament host do in the situations to make this experience better for everyone?
Make everything grade based. I mean, age based.
Yes, age based. Yes,
And if you make everything age based, a lot of these teams will not be the same.
agreed.
And can I just say something real quick, man? I
Yeah, go
just
ahead.
want to give a shout out to Hunter because, bro, I remember was at the garage training kids. And for him to be where he is now and to have a program that has won 150 plus games, and for him to be known nationally, and basically when you talk about 2030 basketball, you have to speak of them, and for them to be from Dallas, I think everyone in the nation should be giving that man and Coach Joe their props. And even their 2031 team that they have, and they're growing from the
100% agreed.
grassroots, and really like they're the right way. Literally adding days of tournament beat
To
what
beat them.
Robert has
Yeah.
created. And it's absolutely insane to me. I give him mad props, man, and I
Yep.
think that he's amazing for Dallas.
Yep. 100% kudos. I agree. Great job, Robert Hunt. Y'all guys keep doing it. Grind circuit. Hunt United. I
Shout out
agree.
to Hunt.
Couldn't have said it any better, man. That was beautiful. I couldn't have said it
If
no
he's
better.
listening,
Good job, Coach Brian.
my guy.
For sure.
Hey, I need church
For sure.
for the shout out.
Hey, do we have a visitor on right now? Who's
My 2 cents. So we talking about reclassing. We actually talking about the Balling on the Beach tournament. There were situations that went on. There was some major upsets. There were actually some really good games, championship games on every level. I believe there were 3 or 4 teams from the Dallas Metroplex that actually made it to the finals championships. So that was pretty big. What's your 2 cents on what you've seen or heard from the Balling on the Beach tournament, or even the whole reclass situation?
I came in to chime on basically regarding the protest, and I'll circle back to answer your question. I got on with about the protest. I have protested one time. I've been cheated a couple times, blatantly cheated, and my ego wouldn't allow me to protest it. And as an adult, I kind of felt bad because you have kids and parents who are investing a lot of time and a lot of money into youth sports, and to be cheated, it kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So I wouldn't protest, and my wife would get mad at me about it because she says, no, that's your ego. That has nothing to do with them kids. We were in a game because everything is situational, and I couldn't protest prior to the game. And I'll say this: my son is a reclass, so I'll get that out the way now. But he plays. He's 2030 now. Was 2029. He's 2030 now, but he plays 29, 28, 27. Plays against grown men. So it's not about winning tournaments. He's just a younger kid, and it was more based on his development. So we're in the tournament and we're playing 15U. And a kid who's 17 with tattoos all on his neck comes out. He doesn't come in until the second half. There was no way to protest prior to the game. Didn't know that this kid was going to come out 17 years old against my 11-year-old. It just never dawned on me that somebody would do that, but they did. And that was the game that I protested. So after the game, I go to protest. The tournament director, after giving me a runaround, he says to me, there's nothing we can do about it. I took it on the chin and bounced. It wasn't going to be an argument or anything like that. Didn't want to protest anyways, but just had to out of the principle of it all. But I say all of that to say, like, I think everything is situational. If you know a kid is older and you want to play, that's on you if you lose. You can't cry over spilled milk after the fact. But if you don't know and you have no clue, you don't. A lot of these teams be from out of state. A lot of these teams be, if you're new to grassroots basketball, you don't know all the kids, but the kids and the parents, they know. And so when you find out prior to the game, if you can protest, I would certainly say something. Now that I think about it in hindsight, after the game, though, if you know you're playing against a kid that is older and you play it anyways, there's no crying over spilled milk. You can't do that. That's cheating and robbing the all of the kids, your kids included, of a great experience. So that was my 2 cents on that. I chimed in just because I also run events, and we use technology to make sure that everybody is accurate, and people protest all the time. And if you don't have your paperwork in the technology in the app, then it's easy on the tournament director to disqualify the win. But these grassroots tournaments, they don't do that. A lot of them don't use technology. They don't do.
So what technology and what apps do you guys use to make sure it's easier and verified and to keep it more secure?
We use a company called SportsThread, and you have to have player verification. So when everybody comes up to the door, you have to show your verification, and it's a QR code, and then you get you a wristband, one of the plastic snap-on wristbands, so that you know what team you're on, you know what division you're in, you know everything about that kid that's playing. And so that's what needs to happen. But the way it seems in grassroots basketball is that it's been so long and so part of the culture, and such a money maker, that people don't really want to invest in that type of technology, because if you do, you may scare off a lot of those top teams. You may scare off a lot of people to come to your events. Like you said, if you made it all age based, the teams wouldn't look the same. Well, if you make it all age based, your tournament might not look the same. So you have to kind of find that balance. But to answer your question, we use a company called SportsThread, and it's awesome. If you have a problem, you could pull it up right on your phone. It got the kid's picture, birthday, age, grades, everything about that kid in the SportsThread app. Makes it pretty easy.
Man, that's awesome. That's amazing.
So
I think grassroots basketball needs to adopt that.
Hey,
so that was my 2 cents, man. I appreciate you guys giving me a second to share that.
hey, do you want to shout out anything? I mean, you have your own program, correct? And
I do. My program is called Pivot Basketball. We are a developmental program. We're not a tournament team just yet. I do put my developmental kids in tournaments. We don't always do the best. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. But to me, it's about 10,000 hours worth of work. And nobody's at that point in 5th grade, 6th grade, or 7th grade. Whether you're great now, you may not be great tomorrow. Whatever it is, you're going to have to continue to work. So I put my developmental kids in tournaments, and we lose big sometimes, but I let them know there's levels to this basketball thing. And if you want to get to that point where you can be considered one of the top guys, and even if you don't want considered, if you want to even just compete with them and not lose by 100, you're going to have to put in the work. And so for me, putting my guys in tournaments like that, it's more about the experience, opening their eyes to what this basketball thing is really about, and let them know the type of work it's going to take for them to reach their goals.
respect. I respect it.
We don't always win, but we be everywhere. That's for sure.
No, respect,
And,
man.
Coach, I
Respect.
got a
Y'all keep
question
that
for you,
grind up.
Coach.
Y'all keep that grind.
Coach,
Yes,
are you the pivot in Arlington?
yes, sir.
And I've seen your videos, and I know some people who's been there, and I just want to give you your flowers, bro. You're doing a great job,
Man, I thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's a labor of
no
love for
doubt,
sure.
no doubt.
Well, thank y'all, man. Y'all enjoy y'all night. I'm gonna get back to listening and y'all chop it up. This is a great podcast, man. Love what y'all doing for these babies.
Thank you,
Awesome.
man.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
T6.
Yep.
That's dope, man.
That's awesome, awesome, awesome. So, just in closing, we didn't want to stay on here too much longer, but we just wanted to make sure that we recapped on some of the tournaments, the balling on the beach, like Brian mentioned earlier. Yeah, the finals at Drive Nation that's going to be happening. We believe the MSI Primetime Nationals, some really good tournaments coming up. In closing, are there any other teams in the other divisions, or the players that we should be looking forward to in these next coming weeks?
In the next coming weeks, I'm really gonna pay attention to man, it just slipped my mind. They're a local Dallas team. Oh, that's the kid's name. AJ Judy. He plays for Hunt United. I really want to pay attention to him closely. Sharpshooter, great IQ. So I just want to be on the lookout for him. I want to make sure I catch a couple of his games.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with the players, I'm all about scouting, trying to scout new talent. But of course, I'll be paying attention to the balling out, elite team. I'll be paying attention to all the pro skills teams. I think that even with the pro skills Felton team, they have a few good players. I can't remember what the big's name is, but they have two decent bigs. I'll be paying attention to them, and I'll also be paying.
Oh, hold on, and not to cut you off. I'm sorry, Top Ball. Not to cut you off. One more time, not one more time, but another team I want to take a look at is that 2030 Texas Dynasty team. Man, they are low. That's a good team. The 2030 Dynasty. They're led by Bishop Grace, the point guard. They're really good.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, eyeball. That there was who was that kid? It was number one that was playing for the 99 overall team. Actually, no, not the 99 overall team, but the OWE team, the number one. It was the younger kid that was playing up. What's that kid's name again?
Uh, I know who you're referring to. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I believe he's the coach's son, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and I
Uh,
think he used to play with the Pro Skills Felton team, if I'm not mistaken.
he may have. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a couple. Yeah, the OWE does have a few players on that team. The 2028 team, I believe. They have a pretty good squad. They have a pretty good squad.
yeah. So I would definitely be checking him out. I can't remember his name. I'll mention it on the next show. But yes, I really like this game. He was a younger kid as well too, playing up. So
Yeah, and I want to share this too, just about what Eyeball Nation brings. Obviously, there's been a ton of support throughout the city, throughout the nation, really, on the boys' side and girls' side. We spend a lot of time on the boys' side. I want to obviously get some more coaches on the girls' side, um, to bring light to a lot of the talent, because there's a lot of talent on the girls' side that is not being exposed and talked about. So
Especially in Dallas, Texas, bro.
yeah,
Man.
of course, especially in Dallas, Texas. So I mean, just seeing, like, obviously on the boys' side, seeing how many boys got drafted in this NBA draft, just 'cause that shares, the level of competition that's out here. I believe it's like six guys that went first or second round, and still more that's going to be undrafted that gets picked up. There's a lot of talent out here, and it's the same way on the girls' side as well. So we want to be able to share and keep exposing the top talent. Um, I know what gets the most waves is the rankings, and for me, personally, it doesn't bother me. I know it brings the hype, but Eyeball Nation is a media company. first and foremost. We do media. That's what we do. We're not a basketball team. We don't have any basketball teams. We don't have a mission to have a basketball team. We are a media company that wants to provide exposure. It just so happens that the rankings is one that gets the most attention. So as we start to talk about and bring light to some of these kids, it's never to bash kids. So if kids are brought up in certain conversations, it's never to bash a kid in that in any type of manner. That's not what we're about. That's not what this platform is for. We will call a spade though, and I know that the platforms that's on here, Top Baller, which many people have already known. Like we have a Top Baller list that is going to be, watching and scouting and doing these things. Bringing on the voice of grassroots, who is really going to bring a voice of what people are saying. Some of the information is going to come directly from his own platform, but a lot of what he's going to be speaking is what he's hearing from everybody else. There's things that parents want to say, but they can't, or coaches want to say, but they can't. So that platform is going to be really big for the youth program, and there's many more. But we just want to thank you, everybody that tuned in today. And we want to continue to have these type of conversations and recap big tournaments. I know it's going to be a couple more. There's like I said, a big one in San Antonio this weekend, and there's going to be many more throughout the summertime. So we want to make sure that we continue to highlight that.
Agreed. To piggyback on what you just said, we are never here to down any kids, any players. Never. Uh, like he said, we will call a spade, but we are just evaluating players. We're always pushing kids to get better. We're never here to bash a kid. And like he said, grassroots, we are here to be the voice of the people. There are parents, there are coaches who want to speak up and who have problems with the way that the grassroots game is being played. And so those opinions can be ran through us. We are looking to get those opinions out there and to hear the ideas and the feedback and the rebuttals that everyone else has to say about these opinions. So we can make this voice of grassroots. We're here to make this a free space to speak. So that's what our platform is about.
Yeah, and as far as Top Baller, we're here just to simply, rank the kids and rank the teams. We're not here to pit kids against each other, in regards to, the rankings and things like that. But, we also, we want to keep it competitive and we keep it fair, and we have a certain criteria that we use in regards to ranking teams and players. So, be looking out for the rankings for both the teams and the players around the first week of August after the last tournament, once we end AAU season, and just be ready for it. Be ready for it. There's going to be lots of homework done. There's going to be, all the players. We're going to be watching film. In regards to some of the more competitive games, looking at teams, strong wins and things like that. So there's going to be lots of time put into it. It's not just going to be who I personally or who we personally think is the top player, the top team. It's simply just being fair and staying neutral and just evaluating what we see.
And for more information, you can go to www.eyeballnationdfw.com, where you'll have the Top Baller list and a host of a lot of other things that's on that page, with media, different highlights, recognizing kids, things of that nature. Email us, contact us, reach out to us on IG, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on all of it. And if you have a kid yourself, or if you're a coach, have a team that needs the exposure or wants the exposure, reach out to us. We appreciate Coach Ward, who came on earlier to share his showcase with us that he's going to be hosting here in Dallas, Texas this summer. We appreciate Coach Brian for coming on the podcast as well, and we'll wrap it up with Coach Brian. We also appreciate Coach Tukey, who with Young Pro Global, who's competing this weekend in San Antonio. So we'll let Coach Brian with Max Level have the final words, and then we'll close it out.
I appreciate it. Hey, man, I just want to say congratulations to you, Steve, with your media platform. I think what you've done has been great for Dallas. I think that watching you grow from, I mean, I first saw you 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, or all of you guys as coaches, you just keep doing a great job. And that's it, man.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Well, again, thank everybody for joining, and we'll tune into the
Thank
next episode.
The recap.
Yeah.
The recap, baby.
All right. Have a good one.